Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, well, it's prediction time, ladies and gentlemen, or discussion time, or analysis time, or however you want to phrase it. You see, I am absolutely convinced that on Friday or Saturday of this week, we are going to get the announcement of a new Pokemon video game on the Switch, a proper Pokemon RPG. So I think it's probably fair that rather than just stating this in a vacuum, I explain why I think it's going to happen and which game I think it's going to be. Now, obviously, and I need to say this very clearly at the beginning of the video so nobody is misled, I feel very confident about the predictions I'm making here. And I really have sat down, looked at it, done the research, etc. But none of this is official. There have been no announcements. I am just trying to get this video out before the announcements happen and kind of ruin my chance to actually go and make the predictions, because it's not a particularly good prediction if I've already missed the official announcement. So why am I so convinced a new game is coming this year, and why is it going to be announced on Friday or Saturday? Well, basically, we haven't had a new Pokemon game for 2 years. It just hasn't happened. In 2019, we got the release of Sword and Shield, and in 2020, there was no main series game. Now, what we did get was DLC, the Isle of Armor, and the Crown Tundra, and let's be perfectly clear, I adore those DLC. I think those DLC are amazing. To the point, I bought the DLC on Pokemon Sword. I am either going to buy it on Pokemon Shield, or I'm going to buy the special set that comes with the DLC pre-installed, because I adore the DLC. I think they did a phenomenal job with it. But the fact of the matter is, these don't drive sales. Now, I'm not saying Pokemon don't make money on the DLC. Obviously, they do, or they wouldn't make it. What I'm saying is the DLC, and they don't release figures, so it's hard to know for certain, but it's going to sell less than Sword and Shield. It has to, because no one's going to buy the DLC if they don't have the game, but not everyone who has the game is going to buy the DLC. So, Sword and Shield come in, and according to Wikipedia, they are the 5th highest selling Switch games at the moment, with just a smidge over 20 million copies sold. That in 2019 makes Pokemon a huge amount of money. And then 2020 comes along and they're like, hey, we've got DLC. And the DLC is awesome. But there is absolutely no way that the DLC makes them anywhere near as much money as Pokemon Sword and Shield did. The idea of that is frankly a little bit ridiculous, because it is going to be a percentage of people that own Sword and Shield that buy it. So in terms of Pokemon making money, that is not going to be an absolute winner for them. And that's not the end of the world. Back in 2015, there just was no main series Pokemon game. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the Gen 3 remakes, came around in 2014. Sun and Moon came around in 2016. But in 2015, there was no main series game. We also didn't have one in 2011. We didn't have one in 2007. We didn't have one in 2005. So we don't get one every year. 2013 and 2001, incidentally, were the other years where we didn't have a main series game. But you will also notice that I just gave you the complete list of years where we didn't get a core series title, and none of them were consecutive years. Now, admittedly, DLC is a little bit different. And DLC essentially replaces the third set of games. There is no third version of Sword and Shield in the same way as, I don't know, Pokemon Platinum, because we have the DLC instead. But the fact of the matter remains that a lot of people that bought Diamond and Pearl bought Platinum, in the same way a lot of people with Sword and Shield bought the DLC. But people that didn't own Diamond and Pearl bought Platinum rather than buying the DLC. So from a sales standpoint, it's not going to be as good for them. Taking a year with DLC only, and then a year with no core series title, that is going to put a huge dent in Pokemon's revenue stream to the point where it makes no sense and it's not going to happen. So there needs to be a new game this year. Now, in terms of the date of the announcement, that one's a really easy one. Saturday is Pokemon Day. Except Saturday is a bad day for announcements, and I know in the past when it's been, I think the last time it was on a Saturday, they did it on the Friday, so they may well push the announcement back to Friday, because Friday is a better day for announcements. So on Friday or Saturday, they are going to make an announcement, and there is absolutely no way that we get through Pokemon Day without the game being announced on Pokemon Day. That makes no sense. Anyone want to tell me when Sword and Shield are announced? Yeah, Pokemon Day, obviously. Plus, I should have mentioned, it's Pokemon's 25th anniversary this year, so even if they were going to go 2 years without a core series title, they're not. They definitely wouldn't make one of those years the 25th anniversary, so there is an announcement coming, there has to be, and it has to be Friday or Saturday. So, what's the announcement going to be? As far as I'm concerned, there are going to be 4 options, 2 of which we can discount pretty quickly. Option number 1, more DLC. They've got Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield have sold extremely well. They're not the highest selling Pokemon games yet, but they are definitely getting up there in terms of sales. They are selling extremely fast. They are one of the highest selling games on the Pokemon Switch. They are doing silly numbers, so the DLC is clearly making them some money, and doing another round of DLC would be cheaper than making a new game, and faster than making a new game, bearing in mind we're in a damn panic, and it's difficult to make games right now. But we're in a case of diminishing returns. The amount of people that bought the first DLC pack is going to be a lot less than the 20 million who bought the games, and then the people buying the second DLC pack is inevitably going to be lower than the people who bought the first DLC pack. Players lapse, some players don't like it, whatever, it's going to see another drop. It's not a powerhouse move. Not to mention, Pokemon have already released Pokemon Sword. Pokemon Sword plus the expansion pass. Are they really going to do a third physical copy with Pokemon Sword plus Pokemon Sword expansion pass plus Pokemon Sword expansion pass 2? That is confusing for newer players, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to happen. So I don't think DLC is on the cards. Similarly, we could go to Generation 9, so go beyond Sword and Shield, and I've seen a few people suggesting that online, but again, I think unlikely is not the word. It's just not going to happen. If we look at the gaps, right? From Red and Blue to Gold and Silver, Gen 1 to Gen 2, there was a 3-year gap in terms of, the first release. And then Gen 2 to Gen 3, we saw a 3-year gap. Gen 3 to Gen 4, we saw a 4-year gap. And then Gen 4 to Gen 5, we saw a 4-year gap. Gen 5 to Gen 6, we saw a 3-year gap. 6 to 7, we saw a 3-year gap, and 7 to 8, we saw a 3-year gap. So we've had 4-year gaps in the past, but we seem to be on a cycle of a new core series game every 3 years. We have never seen a 2-year gap for core series games since it launched in the mid-90s. That isn't going to happen now. We are too early for Gen 9. Now come back to me next year for Gen 9 and we can absolutely talk. But it's not happening this year. So DLC and Gen 9, I think, are absolutely out the window. What does that leave us with? Well, the prevailing theory, and the one that I think is most likely, is a remake of Diamond and Pearl, Gen 4 remakes. Now, partly people love Diamond and Pearl. I have done a poll on this channel where I have attempted to determine the best generation of Pokemon, and I've deliberately left it vague. So, cards, video game, whatever you like the most. Now, I had to do it in parts because, unfortunately, you can only put 5 options. So I did 2 semi-finals and then put the 5 highest scoring into the final. And you'll notice that Gen 4 comes second with 29%, but for a long time it was ahead of Gen 1, and Gen 1 just pulled ahead. Diamond and Pearl is a very, very, very popular series of Pokemon games. They are, at the moment, the second most popular series after the original Gen 1. People want remakes of Gen 4. And frankly, it's time. Now, the timeline I'm using is just from Wikipedia because it's really nicely laid out, but we got the Gen 1 remakes, Fire Red and Leaf Green, in 2004. We got the Heart Gold Soul Silver remakes in 2009. We got the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire remakes in 2014. So we were on a 5-year clip. We should have got Gen 4 remakes in 2019. We're now 2021. We're 2 years overdue. Plus, of course, we've had one set of remakes per engine, per console. We had Fire Red and Leaf Green on the Game Boy Advance. We had Heart Gold and Soul Silver on the DS, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire on the 3DS. We need our Switch remakes in the Sword and Shield engine. It makes a huge amount of sense. Now, I know people have seen rumours and other information which suggests that they're going to be Gen 4 remakes, bearing in mind not all of these people have, shall we say, a flawless track record. For what it's worth, I do think a lot of the stuff coming out is believable. I think we've got information which strongly suggests Gen 4 remakes, though it is far from confirmed. And let's face it, I made a video like a couple of years ago saying it was happening because I was convinced it was happening, and it didn't happen. So sorry about that. But I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I really think it's happening this year. It would be the sizzle we need. Pokemon know how popular Sinnoh is, right? They are paying attention. So we've got the second most popular Pokemon generation. It's one fans have been clamoring for years. It's Pokemon's 25th anniversary. They would be, if they were just remakes in the Sword and Shield engine, I think people would go a little bit nutty for them. Unfortunately, to the point where I think if they're not, people might be angry. Now, I said there were 4 options. What's the other option? Let's go. Let's go Johto. Because I don't know why. Like, they did Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I think to then jump from Gen 1 to Gen 4 or Gen 5 or whatever, no. Do you like my little Togepi mock-up? I made it myself, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little bit proud of myself. Yes, I know it's not great, all right, but my Photoshop skills are not great. It's the best I can do. Be nice. Point is, why would they not go Gen 1 to Gen 2? Pokemon love going in order of the generations. This makes too much sense not to do. Now, I know not everybody loved Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I understand that entirely. For what it's worth, I loved the games. I thought the design was amazing. I thought they looked cool. I thought they played well. I thought the catching mechanic later on in the game made it so difficult to catch them that it did drive me just a little bit crazy. But I thought they were fun games. But the other thing to remember is they sold really well. I told you how Sword and Shield were the 5th best-selling games on the Switch with just over 20 million. Well, number 8 is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee at 13 million. That's huge. That is just ridiculous. So, I know not everybody loved them, but let's not forget that Pokemon Go still has a very active player base, many of whom are not core Pokemon fans. They just play Pokemon Go, and these games do obviously coincide with them. Given the sales of Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, it would not surprise me at all if we ended up getting a new Let's Go series of games. Although I think if they do go and announce Let's Go Johto rather than Diamond and Pearl remakes, I think some people are going to be furious. I'll be a little bit disappointed, but whatever they go and announce on Friday or Saturday, I am in for. Now, just to put these last two together very quickly, hey, why don't they do Let's Go Sinnoh? An amalgamation, basically, of Let's Go and the Gen 4 remake. I really don't think they would. Now, Pokemon did send out a tweet from the official account yesterday going, "Let's go, Sinnoh." No, it's not a hint. I know everyone wants it to be a hint. I know everyone wants to try and find some meaning in it. It is clearly the fact that Sinnoh rhymes with Let's Go, and they are clearly having fun with it. Also, that tweet's got 54,000 likes. If we look at all of... and I've been doing one of these for all of them. None of the other generations have broken... well, I mean, the next one was the Gen 5, which got 13.9 thousand likes, and this got up to 54. They did it because it made the tweet more popular and it got people talking. Again, it makes no sense to jump from Let's Go Kanto to Let's Go Sinnoh. Jumping from Gen 1 to Gen 4, that really doesn't make any sense. They are going to go through in order. If there's going to be another Let's Go, it makes way too much sense to not just do Gen 2. I could be wrong, but I really don't think it makes much sense at all, unfortunately. So DLC, I really don't believe it. Gen 9, because it wouldn't make them enough money. Gen 9, it's way too early. Diamond and Pearl remakes, I really do think are the front runner here. And Let's Go Johto, I really could see and believe. I don't think they would do Gen 4 remakes and Let's Go in the same year, because they kind of cannibalize each other's sales. Bearing in mind the majority of video game sales happen around Christmas time, if you launch 2 core Pokemon games, in, November time or around Christmas, even if you launch one in, say, summer and one at Christmas, you are going to have an awful lot of people that get to Christmas and choose one of them. It really doesn't make much sense to do a Let's Go and a Diamond and Pearl remake in the same year. Unless Pokemon really want to go, it's our 25th anniversary, we're having fun. In which case, I am all in favour, and I promise you I will buy all 4 games. Both versions of both. So that's what I think, ladies and gentlemen. That's my prediction, and it's going to be 2 or 3 days until we see how correct I am or not. But I would love to see your predictions, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.